That's the $1,000,000 question right there. Yep. $1,000,000 question. So, before I share how we do our external communication, I am going to share with you our strategies for system success. So instead of focusing on who's fronting, because we were wasting so much time trying to track who's fronting, we kind of switched to identifying what needs to be done. Like what throughout the day, like we know we need to cook, we need to do self-care activities, we need to do this. And so we started focusing on what needs to be done. And then we started, and this is separate from this, but then we started seeing who would be better to fulfill those roles, but that's a whole nother thing. If no one has told you, routines and processes and habits are the holy grail for having a successful DID system. At least that's what I found out in our research and in our investigation and in our implementation is success. Thinking it, writing it down constitutes as communicating with our subconscious. Just thinking about things and writing it down is acknowledging what needs to be done. That doesn't necessarily translate to execution or action, but it does translate for us anyways as it may increase our chances of remembering the things that we wrote or we thought at a later time, and then we can kind of incorporate it later. Listen, before we included system-wide success, like defining goals, like what does a good day look like, we had a bad day every day because it was hard to tell what was going on. Did we do everything? Did what was good? So when we have a defined set goal, then we have a place that we need to meet. So our daily goal may be, okay, we just need to do our basic hygiene care. We need to cook, and we need to not spend more than $200 today. Because at the time he was having a problem. But let's check this out. When you define success, it kind of separates the individual from the whole system. Because when you're in a DID system and you're present, you're only focused on how you feel. But collectively, the system may be doing good. So you need a way to measure your success, especially so you can see it visually, since you need to be able to see it visually externally because it's hard for you to understand it internally. So now this is the most important. Check-ins need to have a purpose. I stopped just doing check-ins just to do check-ins just to see who is here. So for instance, whenever I do a check-in, I'm either receiving information or sending information. So for instance, like in the previous strategies, we want to know, what does a good day look like? So at our check-ins, whoever is present needs to define what their version of a good day looks like. The next person needs to also define what goals do they want to accomplish that day. And so it just kind of, builds in. If you just want to know, like we had created a check-in just to ask them what their favorite song was. And we needed to know that for a specific reason. If you want to know, let me know, and I will tell you why it's important for us to know that. All right, so now that we got that out the way, I want to talk about how we communicate, like a communication process. So these are our processes for system communication. One, you need to have a location. Where does everyone need to go to communicate? This can be different places. Everyone got different things. You can use the notepads, sticky notes, whiteboards, phone apps, anything. But where we put our communications is in the app called Simply Plural. Someone recommended that. It is amazing. We're able to put in our qualities and character descriptions and personality descriptions of each of our authors. We can create chats where we can communicate with each other. You can do polls. You can also log who's fronting and who's not fronting. And you can add comments at the time that you're fronting. It also gives you reports on how often people are fronting and things like that. It'll even have the option to set a reminder to check in. Yeah, so I mean, the Simply Plural app for us is to me, it's not very intuitive. So you're gonna have to spend some time. We did spend some time really studying that app, and it is a really good app. The number 2 is a trigger. How to know when to actually do a check-in. So we've played around with this. We've done alarms. We've done reminder that we used because we have an iPhone. We use the reminder app. But our favorite is actually, we have an iPhone. We use a shortcut app. And the shortcut app, we're able to kind of create, whole processes. So what we do is we send in, we create a process, and it'll pop up an alert on our phone because we're always on our phone. What you want to do is you want to put triggers in places where you're going to always be. Okay. If you brush your teeth every morning and you need to check in the morning, put a note, a index card by your toothbrush and leave it there all the time so that when you go brush your teeth, you know to check in before you brush your teeth. Or if you go to work, put it on a computer, an index card on a computer, or a sticky note on your monitor to say, hey, check in before you log in. You gotta figure it out. It's not easy. And trust me, you gotta play, you're gonna fail. It's just a trial and error type thing. Number 3 is cadence. How often do you want to check in? I wouldn't start off, you could start off with a lot. We did start off with maybe checking in like 6 times a day, and then we brought it down to 4. Checking in 1 time a day does not work for us. You can even have your check-in, have a specific check-in just for morning and night or whatever you want to do. I wouldn't go less than 3 though, to be honest with you. Goals. Why? How do we define success? So now the good thing about the Simply Plural app is that you can see when you checked in, how often you checked in, and things like that. So do you define success that you checked in twice today, 3 times a day? The goal shouldn't be to get everyone to check in, because everyone's not going to check in. Everyone's not going to reply today. You may have a question. They're not going to reply today. They may reply a week from now. Okay. So goals is cool. And then, of course, like I said before, why are they checking in? Why are we here? Why are we meeting? Are we just here just to say that we're here? Like that's kind of annoying. I'm not going to lie to you. That was a very annoying process. But when we created check-ins for purpose, like maybe the morning check-ins can be like, oh, this is what we're going to do to define what we need to do today, because that's what we do. And then the next day, then we do, maybe the second check-in, we just kind of just review what's happening. How are we feeling about today's list? And then the third check-in can be I would usually save the last check-ins for retrieving information. So like use the first, through the day, sending information and retrieving information we do at night. So it's like, how did you feel about today? Can you tell us if you want to do something tomorrow? Preparation is cool. Like we started our always finding ways where we can just be prepared before, anything else. And last, accountability. It's not going to be easy trying to figure out what works for your system, because what works for my system may not work for your system. And I can, it's hard for me to, try to explain what I've done in, a 10-minute video, because I've done a lot over the year to try to figure out how to do this. But yeah, definitely, you need to hold people accountable. You need consequences, and you need rewards. On system communication. And it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy. You know what I mean? Because it's hard to get up. And, and a lot of things is we didn't just do it by ourselves. We did have to get on some medication, to try to help with some of the symptoms that was maybe holding us back. But yeah,